Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Together with Miss Anna, a podcast of conversations with kids. Before we get started on this episode, I wanted to make a quick note. My guest today and I talk about having met on Twitter, and it's important to note that you do have to be 13 years or older to have a Twitter account, or an X account, as we get into in this episode. My guest today does appear on Twitter, but he never does that alone because his parents manage his Twitter account and actually run that for him, and they're always present if he's ever on Twitter and using that platform. So if you are a kid and you're interested in being on Twitter, that's cool. There are tons of kids on Twitter, but you do need a grown-up to help manage that account. So without further ado, let's get into episode 2 with jacktuber. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Together with Miss Anna, the podcast. I'm here today with an amazing friend and kid, and I can't wait for you to meet him. He has his own flair, his own personality, his own fun, and I am so excited for you to meet him. Everybody, welcome to the podcast, my friend, jacktuber. Jack, welcome to the podcast.
Yep. Hey, everybody.
Jack, can you introduce yourself? Tell him whatever you want to share about yourself.
I am jacktuber, and I am 8 years old, and I love to do NFTs.
Tell us a little bit about your art, what it means to you, what inspires you.
Well, a lot of things inspire me. I can get inspiration from anything.
What's your biggest inspiration?
Oof, that's a hard choice. I have a lot of inspiration, but I'm not going to list them all because that would take too long.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I know one of your NFT collections is the Night Creeps, and you
Yep.
and I've talked about that before, that you really love skeletons. So skeletons maybe would be an inspiration.
Yep, skeletons are cool.
Yeah, they are cool. They're very cool. And not just for Halloween. They're cool all year round.
Yep.
One thing that I've been really impressed by with you in particular is how confident you seem when you're talking about, well, kind of anything. You're very confident in conversation, which is really cool to see. But I also know that when you started making art several years ago, you maybe were a little more shy, and a little more maybe nervous about talking about things.
Yep.
So how did it feel when you were starting out being such a shy kid? How did it feel to be talking about your art and putting your art out there? I mean, that's scary too.
Well, I felt really scared.
And how did you work through being scared? I mean, that's some people, when they get scared, like they just freeze up and don't ever try the thing again. So what made you keep going?
Well, I got more relaxed more and more times. I got talked, and just suddenly I just became brave about it.
I love that. So it was really more of a just, you have to keep trying. You have to keep doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's a really important thing for people to hear. It's important for me to hear. I can get really easily discouraged if I try something and it doesn't go really well at first. I have the feeling of like, I don't want to do that again. That was a horrible feeling. I don't ever want to do it again. But you never get good at a thing if you just stop because you got scared one time. So I think that's good advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for sharing that. So Jack, tell us an interesting fact about yourself. It can be something that like nobody knows or only a few people know. What's an interesting fact about yourself?
I skipped kindergarten.
What? I did not know that. Is that because you're just like a genius?
Correct, though.
Dude, that's cool. Seriously, you skipped kindergarten because you were just like,
Yep.
you knew
I
all the
went
things?
straight into first grade.
I did not know that about you.
Wait, I don't think I even learned anything from first grade either.
So you could have just skipped straight to second grade, you're saying?
Yeah, maybe even third.
Honestly, Jack, I believe that. You and I both met on Twitter, actually.
Yep.
And Twitter recently became not Twitter anymore, which I don't know how I feel about it yet. What are your thoughts about that?
I kind of miss the old school Twitter bird.
Me too.
Yeah, also, fun fact, its name was Larry.
The bird?
Yeah, Larry the bird.
I didn't know that. How do you know all these facts?
Okay, I knew that one from Googling.
Just look it up.
It is a cool fun fact.
That is a cool fun fact. Yeah, so they're rebranding to X. So you're thinking you're not a fan of the rebrand?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. But I think I know why it's called X.
Why is that?
So, you know how Elon Musk had like SpaceX?
Right? Yes.
Yeah, if you take the space out of it, you get X. And X is the new Twitter.
Yep. I think you're right. So what do you think we'll call tweets? If it's not Twitter, are we still tweeting?
Maybe we'll call the Xing.
Xing. Yeah. I think so. I mean, that's the only thing I can come up with. Xing.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. It makes sense to me too. I wonder why too. Like, why did
Yeah,
he decide to do that?
yeah, I know. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I don't know. People do all kinds of weird stuff. People are weird. I think everybody's a little weird in their own way.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. Exactly. And weird's not bad. It just means that
Yeah,
you're like different in some way.
yeah, everybody's different
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, I know something that we have alike.
What?
We both have some type of art on clothing.
That's true. We both have put art on clothing.
Yep, you have your patches and I have my shirts.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those listening that don't know what we're talking about, Jack and I have met before. And we are sort of part of this community of people who are creating NFT art and exploring Web3. But I started collecting the art of all kinds of kids who create digital art, and I made them into patches and I put them on my denim jacket. So I have this denim jacket that I like to wear everywhere that's just covered in artwork that's made by kids, which is like the best thing ever. And Jack has also taken some of his art and put it on t-shirts, put it on all kinds of stuff.
I mean, yep, I put decals on a lot of stuff, like jars, canvas paintings, bottles. And who knows, maybe here on Fadi, how you may be lucky to get my signature.
Oh, I got your signature on something. It was a
Yep.
decal. You
Yeah,
had
it was a
your signature on the
decal.
back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to ask you about something.
Oh yeah, gardening.
Gardening?
Yep.
Let's talk about gardening.
I mean, yeah, we planted a few plants, and we even harvested a few jalapenos.
Jalapeno. Do you like spicy stuff?
I mean, I don't need the jalapenos, but I will
Oh.
eat the spinach and the broccoli and the blackberries.
Ooh, blackberries are some of my favorite fruit. Yum.
I know, one of my favorite fruits are the blackberries and raspberries.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. I love to make this snack with raspberries where you get mini chocolate chips, like that you would put in like chocolate chip cookies or something if you're making them. You get the little chocolate chips and you just put them in the little hole of the raspberry and just eat it. It's such a good little treat. You should try it.
Oh, I haven't tried that before. I'll think about it.
Yeah, it's really yummy. I'm not super into gardening. I've never been very good at it, which back to our first conversation about trying something over and over.
Yep.
It's not something I've tried enough to be very good at. I haven't put in the time, but I do really appreciate people who are really good at it. I mean, that's really great. Not a lot of people grow their own food anymore. So that's really cool that you're doing that.
Yep. And the good thing about it is no GMOs.
No GMOs. That's right. Yeah, you can know exactly what's in your food, where it's coming from. That's really important. It's a good way to keep yourself like healthy and strong and all those things.
Yep. And speaking about like pure things, yeah, I have a Brita filter now.
You have a Brita filter?
Yep.
Nice. Trying to
Yep.
not use as many plastic water bottles.
Yep. And it comes for good use.
Yeah, totally. It's a great thing to have around. Okay, so my final question is, do you have any thoughts or words of wisdom or encouragement that you could share with either other kids or other grown-ups that are listening to this?
Always try your best. Try your best and never give up.
Try your best and never give up. I love that. I think that's great because we talked earlier saying nobody's perfect.
Yep.
So all you can be is your best. You can't be perfect.
Yep.
So you just be your best.
I guess that takes the whole thing out of saying practice makes perfect.
Right.
Practice makes you better.
Practice makes you better. Doesn't make you perfect because that's impossible, but it can make you better.
Yeah, but it can be really good.
Yeah. And you can be really good at like so many things. Like humans are pretty incredible.
Yeah, like you could be good at video games, making video games, selling things, maybe coding, like Python or something, maybe like sports or math. I mean, there's a lot of things you could be. And if I list them out, this video would probably be in like 10 parts. It would be way too long.
I think you're right. I think you're right about that. If we sat here and listed all the things that humans could be good about, we would have to list all of the things that humans have ever been good at, not about at. And that would take forever.
Because that would go back all the way back into the old times, like making the wheel.
Right. And we made a wheel not knowing what a wheel even was. Like
Yeah.
it's like people just said, "Hey, we need something that can spin or that can roll on the ground." And they just like thought it up, just imagined it up.
We were maybe thinking cubes don't roll and triangles don't roll, but circles can spin.
Right.
And so why not use circles?
Right. But like, how did they think of that? Do you know what I mean? Like, did they have something that was circular and they like noticed that it was rolling on the ground and they said, aha?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to ask the history books for that.
I guess so. We'll have to ask the history books. Maybe we can Google that too.
Yep, using the future or to look about the past.
Wow. That was a mind blowing statement. You're right, though. I mean, that's exactly it. That's exactly right.
Yep.
Well, Jack, I'm so glad that we got to chat. I'm so glad that you got to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to be next.
I wonder who's going to be next. We'll see.
There's a lot of possibilities.
So many possibilities, endless possibilities, in fact.
Yeah, but not infinite, because there's not an infinite amount of people.
That's true.
Only about like 9 billion.
Yeah, and not all of them are kids. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll do the calculations and figure out just how vast the possibilities are. But I'm so excited to keep going. And I'm really glad that you are my second guest on the pod.
Yep, and I'm glad to be the second guest.
Thank you. Jack, before we go, where can people find you or learn about your art?
Linktree.com/jacktuber.
Linktree.com/jacktuber. And I will link that in the show notes so that people can just click on it and go. Jack, thank you so much for being here today.
All right, you're welcome.
And we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Bye, everybody.
Yep, bye.